I think I bit off more than I can chew. So what do I do when I walk into the shop and get overwhelmed? I go go-karting into the batting cages. Let's go, Dan.
Really?
No, Dan, I'm just kidding. We got a lot of work to do. Now, a lot of you have pointed out that we haven't finished a project in a while, and let's be honest, that's the truth. Now, we're super fortunate and blessed that we have all this support. Like, who would have ever thought we'd have an OCC Chopper and a turbocharged Hayabusa and all these other things going on at once? And just like you, I can only eat an elephant one bite at a time. Unfortunate for me, I have 4 elephants sitting on the dinner table. I'm gonna update you and get a lot of work done as we go, starting with the turbocharged Hayabusa. Okay, so here's the update on the turbocharged Hayabusa. This is a pretty substantial project for us because, you know, we have to pull the whole motor apart, get everything cleaned up, and I wanted to decide what direction we were gonna go with this bike. You know, you have to put together a plan and figure out what components and what pieces you want and that sort of deal. So parts started rolling in a little bit. Let's open a couple boxes, see what we have, and we're gonna go from there. This should be our cylinder. So if you remember, when the valve let loose in the head, it also nicked the one cylinder a little bit. So we sent the cylinder out, and the way I like to do this is once I have everything pulled apart, I get my measurements and I figure out what pistons I want to put in the bike. And then I order the piston or pistons. And once those come, I ship the pistons with the cylinder to the machine shop so that everything is a perfect fit when they're all done. So,
Bursner.
These are our Worsner pistons.
Worsner.
These guys do a fantastic job. Not only is their machining top notch, but their packing is always very well done. This should be our cylinder. We're gonna have a lot of cardboard after today. Man, I love opening boxes. Opening boxes is so much fun. Wow. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful job. Those cylinders are just, look at that bores. I mean, absolutely fantastic.
Wow, that looks unreal. I've never seen something so shiny and smooth in my life.
Whew. There is absolutely no doubt it's the only, well, I mean, in fairness, it's the only company I ever used. And the reason it's the only company I ever used is because Power Seal USA just knocks it out of the park. Every single time I send them a cylinder, they crush it. It's amazing. We have our cylinder, we have our pistons. I saw another box came in. Let's get that thing opened up and see what's in there. And there it is. There is. There's some gaskets. Here's our turbo. Again, when this thing ate a valve, it did put some metal through the exhaust here. So we sent the turbo out to Turbos Direct, and they rebuild it and send it back to us fresh as can be, man. Fresh as can be. So we have the turbo, we have the cylinders, we have the piston, and I need to also send out the head. Our head, if you remember, is toast.
Oh yeah.
So I had to order a new head. And when I ordered a new head, I was kind of in a hurry, and I ordered the wrong head. By accident, I ordered the head for a GSX-R 1000, not a GSX-R 1300 Hayabusa. So that didn't work. So if anybody needs a head for a GSX-R 1000, let me know. However, I did order the correct head and it came in. I think I have it in a box here. Let's check it out And we're gonna get that thing boxed up and sent out because that is gonna take a couple weeks to get done as well. Oh man, that's where we're at on the Busa. Let me grab that box and we're gonna throw a label on that and get that done. Head. Set of cams in. Okay, set of cams in. Those came with, yeah, okay. They're packed in there. Okay, we're gonna get this shipped out, so we'll have our head back with our camshafts. All that's gonna be dialed, and by that time we should have the bearings and all the other little bits we need to throw this motor back together. Turbo's done, cylinders are done, pistons are here, cams and head are in here, bike is right there. Yeah, so we're making some progress. We just got tied up a little bit, waiting for things to get done, waiting to fix my screw ups, that sort of thing. I'm really excited though. This thing's gonna be a lot of fun when we get it wrapped up. So one of the benefits maybe of this taking a little while is it's giving me some time to think about how I want to put this bike back together. I don't know if it's gonna look like this when we're done. Just saying.
It's definitely not looking like this.
Well, no, it's gonna have an engine and a gas tank and hopefully a seat. But I got some ideas rolling around, giving me a little time to think while I'm waiting on engine parts to come. I'm excited. That's the update with the Turbo Hayabusa. Parts started rolling in. Other parts are headed out to go to the machine shop. They'll be back in shortly. We're not far off. It just takes a little time here, that's all. Especially when I screw stuff up like this head. My bad. The second elephant I have going on in the shop is a CX500 adventure bike build. Whew, I'm excited about this one. This is gonna be a lot of fun and I can't wait to keep working on it. But we got a big surprise coming in. It's actually happening next week. Something you guys asked for and we made it happen. I'm really, really excited about it. It's gonna be huge and I can't wait. But first, before that, we need to get this bike washed off and go through a couple parts and make sure it's ready for next week because stuff's gonna happen. So in preparation for next week's big surprise, I gotta get this bike washed. Don't eat the soap, Dan.
Can't tell me what to do.
That's right. I suggest you don't eat the soap, Dan. Should get washing. I don't want this stuff to dry. Okay, so it's all this little stuff that, all this stuff just takes so much work, and it's all the little things that you guys don't see, like washing the bikes and sitting down and ordering the parts and figuring all that stuff out. This one here is now clean. We are ready for next week. Man, dude, I can't wait. It is gonna be awesome. I'm really excited about this. All right, parts have been coming in for this. Man, we got all sorts of stuff. There's a book in case I get frothy. What else do we have here? Oh man, we got fork boots, we got handlebars, we got, I don't even know what's in there. Wheel bearings, brake pads, cylinder hone, because our one cylinder has rust in it, I'm gonna do something. We got some pod filters, spark plugs, exhaust wrap, cables, more gators, steering head bearings, grips, master cylinder, carb kits, spark plugs, fork seals. Whoa, Race Tech gold valves. Yeah, buddy. And my inspiration. So, we got almost everything we need here to get that thing back up and going. Gaskets, I got my gaskets, got my cables, all this little stuff. This is gonna be good. So, that's the update on the CX500 adventure bike build. It's now clean, we got a bunch of parts here for it, and we have a big special surprise that we'll be shooting next week. I'm really excited. Let's move on to our third elephant. It's sitting over there.
You mean over there?
No, Dan.
Oh, there it is.
There it is.
Okay.
So the next elephant we got here is the XR250. And guys, I really like this project and I'm kind of taking my time here a little bit on it because I want to have a really nice bike when I'm done. That's why I'm not rushing it. I'm sorry, but here's the update. If you remember from the first video when we started pulling the engine apart, that was a nightmare to begin with, but had some issues with the camshaft. Now the way these camshafts work on this bike is the camshaft's actually riding on the bearings, on the cam bearings here and here, like that, there. This center journal is a floating journal. It's really not a bearing surface. These camshafts are just not in existence anymore. And it's gonna cost almost $500 to get this camshaft fixed. Get the center journal repaired, hard face the 4 lobes, and regrind those to the grind we want. It's gonna cost about $500. Then, if I wanna get all the rocker arms hard faced and refinished as well, they're $100 a piece. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 of those, plus the 500, plus the shipping and everything. I'm looking at like $1,000 just to get this camshaft fixed and my rockers re-hard faced. That's insane. This thing's turning into a money pit. So when I run into a problem like this, I have to kind of step back a little and decide what direction I'm gonna go. I have a few different options. I can send this out, I can spend $1,000, I can get the grind I want, I'll have basically a brand new camshaft, and I can throw that in here and the bike's gonna be great for another 80 years. Or I can put back in what we have. This thing isn't totally shot. The bike will run and the bike will run fine. The bore is still at a standard size, so I hate to take, I don't know what I want to do, so that slowed me down a little bit. The other thing I've been waiting on here a little bit with this project is the suspension. Now, I ordered all the goodies from Racetech. I got my front fork springs, I got my emulators, and I got my rear shock spring, and I got the new rear bumpers, I got the seals, I got everything I need to rebuild the forks and the shock, except time. That is the one thing I don't have. So the thing I really like about using Racetech for all my suspension stuff is I get the 2 options. One is I can order all the parts I need and I can do it myself. The other cool option is I can box up my forks and my shock and send it to one of their service centers and let their techs do the work, rebuild everything, and send it back ready to bolt on the bike and go ride. That is the direction I'm gonna go. So what I need to do now is I need to get the forks and the shocks, and I'm gonna clean everything up before getting it in a box and shipping it to them, because that is what you do. Do not ship people your dirty parts. They don't wanna take the time cleaning up your mess. So clean everything really good before sending it out to a service like this. It's gonna go a long, long way. So I'm pulling the spring off the shock here, and I am not gonna send that along because I'm getting a new rear spring put on, because I'm chubby. Put my gloves on so that it, looks like I'm being cautious. They like to see me use gloves. So the object here is to get things as clean as you possibly can before sending them out. I would imagine it would put the service tech in a bad mood if he opens the box and it's all dirty and muddy or grimy and oily, and you don't want the guy rebuilding your suspension to be in a bad mood. It's not 100% perfect, but it's a lot cleaner than it was. So that's gonna be ready. And I'm gonna send these out as well. So I'm gonna get this stuff here cleaned up. Now Racetech is really good. And the reason I work with them a lot is because they do, well, their website's phenomenal. Like if you want to learn about suspension and you wanna read up and figure that kind of stuff out, their website is a wealth of knowledge. Like I use it all the time. But they do, on-road, they do street bikes, they do off-road bikes, they do modern bikes, they do vintage bikes, and I think they also do those things with the 4 wheels. Oh, the ATVs. They also do the ATV stuff. So I just want to get everything as clean as I can before sending it to them. So my shock stuff is ready to send. Let's start loading up a box. So sending in your suspension to Racetech actually couldn't be any simpler. First step is get yourself a good sturdy cardboard box. Don't use a gun case. The days of that are kind of over. There's a few problems with that. One is they're just big and bulky to ship. Two is they kind of set off some red flags when people see them. And they actually, I think there's been an issue where if something's gonna get stolen and you have the choice between a gun case or a nondescript cardboard box, chances are the bad guy's gonna take the gun case and not the cardboard box. Clean your suspension really good, and we're gonna get this wrapped up and packaged up. I'm just gonna throw this in a plastic bag because I have it. Oh, like a little burrito. Same thing with the forks. Get the forks really clean. A lot of times, especially with these older bikes, you got leaky fork seals, and that's holding dirt and grime. So get them good and clean and wrapped up. Okay, don't forget, before you finish boxing this up and taping it and shipping it out, you gotta hop online and fill out a service form. This is the information. It's customer name, date, address, phone number, email, bike, year, make, and model, last 4 digits of the VIN. And then this here is really important stuff. Rider weight with no gear on, the type of riding you're gonna do, your skill level. Skill level on bikes is generally, you have pro, AA, B, C. C riders are generally your novice group, beginners, then you move up to B, and then A, and so on. Age. Does your bike have an oversized tank or not? Is it lower? Do you like it soft or hard? Different things like that is gonna help the techs dial in the suspension so that it's set up for you and your weight and your riding style and your skill level. You can add any other notes. Here you have what you want done to your forks. Are you doing a rebuild? Do you need bushings, a revalve, any of that? And here actually, gun cases. Do not ship in gun cases. Shipping companies do not insure damage. Also, we have noticed the chance of your package getting stolen is high. I guess that's maybe where I got that. I don't know. Gun cases will be shipped back separately and your components will be shipped back in a suspension box. I'm kind of actually looking forward to getting a suspension box because then I can just ship more suspension to them in that suspension box. Okay, so we need to get this filled out. You fold it up and you tape it up. Okay, we add some more tape on there. All right, give it the shake test. If it flops around and shakes around, it's not packed tight enough. So, yep, we're good. Gonna throw a shipping label on this. We're gonna get sent out to the Racetech Service Center so that those guys can go through everything, get it dialed in for us. We should have it back here shortly. Whew, I'm really excited. I'm really excited because there is nothing better than having a good set of fresh suspension on your dirt bike. It's what dreams are made of, if I'm being honest. Okay, so now that the suspension is boxed up and just outside waiting for the UPS man to show up. Engine. This engine is actually, so far what I'm seeing, in pretty decent shape. I do have one concern. I'm seeing a little mark on top of the piston where maybe a valve came in contact slightly. I need to investigate that a little bit. So Dan's on vacation a little bit next week, and while he's on vacation, I'm gonna finish pulling this engine apart. I need to get everything cleaned up so I can try something that I haven't tried yet, and that is Cerakote. I've been wanting to try Cerakote for a while. Been playing around with some different types of finishes and spray paints and things like that. Fingers crossed. I don't have a lot of prep patience, so I'm hoping that I can get this stuff clean and prepped well enough that I do the Cerakote justice. So I'm really excited for this. Like I said, I am pulling this apart next week while Dan is out. I think he's taking a kayak ride around the moon or something. I don't know where he's going.
That's you got it, nailed it. Moon kayak ride.
So I am gonna be able to actually come to work and get a little work done without Dan following me around, asking me questions with a camera all the time. Yeah, so this bike is coming along. It's just taking me a little bit longer than I wanted it to because, you know, there's other things going on too. And we still have videos to make every week. So we do our best to just keep things in and out and keep things interesting. I don't want to bore you guys with putting out the same video every single week. I don't want a month-long whatever of just putting one bike together. That's why I like switching it up, keeping things fresh. However, sometimes you get in a pickle and you get a little behind. But we're getting there. We're getting there. I think all the parts have now shown up so that this bike should go together pretty simple. You know, one of the things that happens quite a bit is I'll order parts as I start, and I order all the obvious stuff. So I have that. But then what happens is you start getting into things and you realize like, oh shoot, I need this or I need that. And then you have to order it and wait. And then you realize, whoops, I need this and this too. And then you order that and you have to wait. I'm just not good enough that I can order every single part I need right off the hop unless I order every single part on the bike. So, you know, hey, we got to take it as it comes a little bit. The really cool thing though is this is kind of like real life, you know, like now maybe you guys only have one project going on in the garage, but you know exactly what it's like. You're working on it Saturday night and you realize you need a Knufter at like 8 o'clock on a Saturday night, and obviously
Knufter store's closed.
Yeah, the Knufter store's closed. And so, you know, you got to sit down and order parts and then wait for the UPS man to, you know, show up at your door, drop them off and get back at it. So that's where we're at with this. There is progress being made now. Yeah, I'm ready to get it done as well.
So it can look half as nice as this?
It's going to look nicer.
Nicer?
Nicer.
Even more nicerest than...
More nicer.
That's a finished product. Project. See?
Yeah.
Craig finishes projects.
I don't say I don't finish. I finish projects. Heck, I got 3 little dirt bikes over there in front of the kids that I keep running every single weekend.
Dang, he can even keep things running. You can even maintain things.
Okay, my 4th Elefante that I am taking one bite of at a time, and it's starting to taste awful, is, drum roll please, boom.
You working on the IT again?
No, Dan, the OCC.
Oh!
Okay, it is OCC story time, and boy, oh days. I really shouldn't have answered the phone that day Sean called. So here's where we're at with the OCC bike. After we replaced the starter and got the bike running, and I was comfortable enough that it was good to go onto the dyno, we loaded things up and headed to Brandon, and we're all excited for a dyno day. Today's gonna be a super fun day because we brought the Geico bike to the dyno to get Brandon's help. I'm excited. This is gonna be so much fun. Didn't really expect what was gonna happen once we got there. The bike didn't perform nearly like I was hoping it would. On our first run, we got 130 horsepower. On our second run, we got 120 horsepower. I'm not really that concerned with horsepower numbers. That is not the objective of this bike, and it's not what we're going for. What we're going for is to make this bike actually streetable with a pump gas tune so that you can ride it from here to Timbuktu and stop at every gas station along the way and put pump gas in it. That is my ultimate goal for this bike. What we realized when we got to the dyno is the TPS sensor was wonky. So I got another throttle position sensor. This is a good one, fresh off the boat. $32,000 sensor. I put that on. So then the problem we were having is it kept showing the throttle position was at like 15% or 15 degrees open or whatever it was. And we needed it to be at 0 because that's kind of where all the data starts stacking up. We need to know the position of the butterflies and where the throttle's at in order for all the other numbers to fall in line and have things working properly. The other thing we noticed while it was on the dyno is the clutch is smoked. And of course, this isn't just any ordinary Harley clutch that you go to the dealership and buy. It's some fancy clutch that I need to get figured out and find parts for. So I have to add that to the list too. Now, the good news is after we left the dyno with Brandon, I was distraught because I'm like, I don't know what to do. So I got lucky enough that when Sean posted his first video, Stephen Thompson, the guy that designed this supercharger and built the supercharger and the fuel injection system and put the tune and all that stuff in it, reached out to Sean. I got a chance to call and talk to Stephen, and we had a great conversation, and I learned a ton about this bike and the story behind this bike and how everything went down. Dan, I think we have some of that footage. Roll a little of that conversation. Okay, I'm I am in.
So it should be a green table with a bunch of dots on it.
I have a graph and it's red dots.
On that page, is there a cursor across the page? Like straight up and down, it would be vertical.
Yep.
What is it at right now? And it should be at, say, 14.8 in that range.
It's just under.
Now, what I want you to do, very, very slowly, grab the throttle.
I'm gonna set the
That cursor right there is your throttle position sensor.
Gotcha.
So to find out if the throttle position sensor is accurate in reading properly, this is the test to do.
Okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna watch this cursor. I'm gonna slowly twist the throttle. The cursor is moving.
Are you out of page yet?
Yes, I'm out of page.
Yep, somebody changed firmware then.
Yeah, so here's what our goal is to get this thing on a pump fuel tune so that we can ride this bike on the road and it not self-destruct. And then pull up at the Exxon and fill it.
With 93 octane.
Yeah.
Can absolutely be done.
Okay. That was a really productive conversation and I learned a ton, and it was really interesting hearing the stories behind this bike, how working with the Discovery Channel went, all that sort of stuff. I know there are quick and easy ways to get some of this stuff done, right? So the easy way is you find yourself the Stephen Thompson, and like I did, and you give it to them and you let them do their thing, and you get a bike back that's working. The way I like to do it is I like to figure out things for myself, so I'm learning. Now, it's taking me some time. I'll be honest, this is the first custom chopper I've had in the shop that has a supercharger on it, and I'm not a tuner guy. It's not really my forte. So I'm learning and I'm figuring it out. It's just, it takes time. So the other day, I was doing a data log so I could get the information off the bike, and just before I was finishing it, the main fuse vibrated out, shut everything down, lost my connection and my whole data log. That means I had to wait for the bike to cool down completely and redo everything. That's like a 4 or 5 hour process. So the good news is we are making progress. I'm learning a ton. Like, I'm in uncharted territory for myself. There's gonna be a really awesome video coming out on this bike, and I can't wait for it to happen. You just gotta give me a little time yet as I get things figured out. So there's the update on the 4 big projects we have going on in the shop. Now it's time for me to take off my work hat, put on my dad hat. I'm taking the boys camping for the weekend. You guys have a great weekend. Dan, don't forget to put a video here and here. Check them out, guys. I know you're gonna love them. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Have a great weekend.